Hey there, in this video I'm going to be replacing this right front wheel seal here on my truck. It's a 386. Went down to Cafe Kenworth and got a replacement wheel seal. You can see part numbers on here. So you can go and pick up your own, maybe get it for a little bit cheaper. I'd have to look at the receipt and see how much this was. But here, might be able to just see the part number on there. Wheel seal, pretty simple. Start out with your 33mm socket. Got your big impact. Bust these guys off. But I got my 7/16 end wrench. All right, so I got the brake drum off now. You got your hub right here. I'm looking at the brake pads. Now is a good time for anybody to change the pads. Got everything off, it's exposed. You know, I got a decent amount of life left on them. I don't want to be changing them yet. All right, because these trucks are, of course, American trucks built by a European company. 13mm right there. Got to take this hubcap off. All right, pop that sucker off. Yeah, I ripped the gasket right here, so I'll have to deal with that later when I put it back together. All right, so we got that little hubcap off. You can see all the restraints, the nut on here. There's a metal plate here that holds the nut in place. So I'll go get a brass punch, straighten that guy out, and we'll take that nut off and start proceeding. All right, I got my punch here. Got the brass one there. I don't know where my big brass punch is, so I'll have to go without it for now. But just take it easy, and you can work this guy back out. Just a little bit at a time. Yeah, you need to knock that back out because then you need to take this nut off. I'll go get my my supplies for that. All right, now it's time to take, I got my 2 1/4 inch socket. I wasn't able to find at any of my local stores a, you know, just a typical spindle socket, so I got just a regular 2 1/4 inch socket. It's a 3/4 inch drive. I just broke it loose, but this thing was on there real tight. Wish I had recorded that for you guys. Take this off. I'm going to need to put everything on a good surface so it can be laid out and very well organized. So what I like to do when I take apart spindles is just, as they come off, put it upside down and in order. So you got that nut, you have this locking washer, and it's got this detent built into it, and there's a bunch of detents in a plate right there, so you know, okay, it will lock in like that, and then you just bend an ear over. Place that down. This yellow Chingadero Dana Spicer LMS hub, this side out. It's got a number 970576. Honestly, no idea what this is about. Might just be informational. All right, there's that inner detent washer. And here's another nut. So that was all just a lock nut assembly, and here's another nut. Let's see what size that is. All right, I've got a 2 3/4 here. Bingo, I kind of fluked into that one. Called up Napa earlier and asked if they had a 2 1/4. They grabbed a 2 3/4, but I forgot to look at it off the shelf. All right, well, you can see how tight this is. I might have to, don't want to go to this drastic length of putting an impact on it. Oh, all right, this is really tight. All right, that did it. Got it broke loose. Got my outer bearing. I'm going to inspect this. And key is you want to roll it, do it all by hand to see if you got any rough spots, how much play it is. It feels pretty decent to me. And now to pull this sucker apart. Oh, that was the money shot right there. All right. We'll roll this sucker over, put a couple, just a rag down. Probably better if I had a big block of wood that was free. I just don't want to gall up any of those threads on the studs. So I got the bearing on, or the seal on the back side here. I mean, it looks nasty as all heck. In order to get this seal out of here, we're gonna have to use these seal pullers. It's a pretty common tool. They're a leverage. All right, there it goes. This thing was in there pretty well. Yeah, you can see the condition of this seal. It did its job. That's the best thing you could say about it. Now I gotta go and pull this inner bearing out. You gotta spin it around, check it. If you feel any roughness, see any sort of chipping in anything that really feels off, replace it. Because you don't want a bearing to go out on you going down the road, because oh, that's a big mess. All right, now I gotta go and clean this guy up a little bit. And we gotta prepare to put in our new seal. All right, so step one of reassembly, quite simple. Pop that inner bearing back in there. Step two, get that seal. Doesn't hurt, put a little lubricant on it. Now I've got my plate. I'm gonna hit this thing in the middle. Pull it off. I see it's falling further on that side than that side, so I gotta equalize it a bit. It's going in pretty smooth. I still gotta knock this side down a little. All right, that thing I think is sat in there pretty well. It's not dropping any further down. I think it's right in where the seal is supposed to sit. I'll show you. So there's a metal outer ring to the seal, and that is sitting slightly above the surface, while the seal itself looks to be about flush with that surface. Next step, put it back together, put it on. Just to make it a little easier, once again, I'm going to lube that up a little. Spray some stuff on there and lift, and you want to put it on there very square. And boom, pop right on. I'm going to put this cone back in, and I don't know what the deal is with that cone. Got my outer bearing, which came off a little rough at the very end. Now everything kind of holds itself together. I like that right there. All right, now I got my locker, and my little detent does not fit into the holes anymore. So I'm gonna flip it around. Sometimes these things, and boom, lines up perfect. I don't have to adjust that inner nut. So a lot of these times, these things aren't built mirrored of itself. So if they don't line up perfectly, you can flip it around a certain direction and it might adjust the holes a half a hole. So that's what I did. This is able to fit now. I've got my yellow spicer ring. I got my chingadero here, the ring that I bend the lip down on, the lock ring, and then I've got my outer nut. I want to make sure that detent's locked in. I'll grab my 2 1/4 inch socket. This one I can tighten up a little bit better. Okay, so we got it all assembled. I need to go and bend one of these ears down on this tab. So I got my screwdriver in here. I'm gonna wedge it between the inner nut and this washer, and then I'll be able to bring it down and start the bend on it. Now I'm going to do it the more proper way. I'm going to grab my punch and really bend it flat up against that nut, because I don't want this wheel falling back apart. Now it's for the part, putting this guy back together. Now what I did to put this back together was I got some gear oil gasket maker, because really we put gear oil in these hubs, hub oil, gear oil, and you know, I know it will make a better seal than putting a fabric or a regular gasket back in there. It's easier doing it the other way. I like doing it this way. To each their own. There's really no wrong way about it as long as you put a gasket in there that's going to hold. All right, back to my 7/16 to put these guys on. I'm going to turn this way down. So it says torque to 12 to 16 foot-pounds. I got to let that glue dry and set, and then I'll come back and torque it on. Until then, I'm going to go and now I'm able to go and put the other items back together because I'm always going to have access to that hubcap right there. Oh. So, like I said before, it's always a good time if you're doing something like this. You got good access to your brakes. Go and change them if you need them. It'll save you time later on down the road. And then you can take your old brake drums to the scrap steel yard, get a couple bucks for them.